Hello, and welcome to a video presentation on solving proportions. Here's what you'll learn. How to solve proportions by using cross products. How do we solve proportions? Well, the goal in solving proportions is to find the value of a variable. By creating an equation from the cross products of a proportion, we can solve for the value of the variable. And to solve for a variable, you must isolate the variable. That means we want to get the variable, the letter, all by itself on one side of the equation. Your equation should end up looking like this. The variable equals a number. For example, p equals 16. Proportions are just two ratios or fractions whose values are equal. If we know the ratios are equal, then that means their cross products are equal as well. Now let's work some examples together. Let's solve the proportion 1/2 equals x over 10 for the value of the variable x. The equal sign between these ratios tells us that we have a proportion. So the cross product of 2 times x, which is 2x, equals the other cross product of 1 times 10, which is 10. Now, before we continue, let me give you a helpful hint about cross-multiplying with variables. It doesn't matter which order you multiply the cross products. We could just as easily have started by multiplying the 1 and the 10 first. However, to make the problem easier to understand, put the cross product with the variable on the left side of your equation. Now let's continue. Now to solve for x, we have to cancel out the 2 that's with it. 2x is 2 times x, so we will divide by 2 to cancel it out on the left. And of course we have to divide the other side by 2 to keep our equation balanced. Now on the left, the 2's cancel each other, leaving us with just our variable x isolated on that side. On the right, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So x equals 5 is our answer. Now let's solve the proportion m over 4 equals 180 over 20 for the value of the variable m. Again, the equal sign between these ratios tells us we have a proportion. So the cross product of m times 20, which is 20m, has to equal the other cross product of 4 times 180, which is 720. Now to solve for m, we have to cancel out the 20 that's with it. Again, 20m is 20 times m, so we're going to divide by 20 to cancel it. And we have to divide the other side by 20 as well to keep the equation balanced. Now on the left, the 20's cancel each other, leaving us with our variable m isolated on the left-hand side. And on the right, 720 divided by 20 is 36. So m equals 36 is our answer. Now let's work a word problem. Aubrey drove 400 miles in 6¼ hours. If she continues traveling at the same speed, how far can she drive in 9 hours? First, we know we can set up a proportion since Aubrey is continuing to travel at the same speed. She drove 400 miles in 6.25 hours. So let's go ahead and set that up. Since we have different units, we're going to have a rate this time, not a ratio, so we'll include the units in our rate. 400 miles in the numerator over 6.25 hours. This will help us set up the second rate. The second rate must be set up in the same way with the units in the same part of the rate. So the units miles are going to be in the numerator and hours will be in the denominator. Since we're looking for how far Aubrey will travel in 9 hours, the numerator will contain our variable, the unknown distance. I'm going to call that d when we set up this rate. So now we can set up the second rate. D miles in 9 hours. Now with our proportion complete, all we have to do is cross multiply. The cross product of 6.25 times d, of course, is going to give us 6.25d. And that has to equal the cross product of 400 times 9, which is 3,600. Now to solve for d, we have to cancel out the 6.25 that's with it. Again, 6.25d is 6.25 times d, so we're going to divide by 6.25 to cancel it. And we have to divide the right side by 6.25 as well to keep our equation balanced. Now on the left, the 6.25's cancel each other, leaving us with our variable d isolated all by itself on the left. And on the right, 3,600 divided by 6.25 is 576. So d equals 576. And since it's a word problem, let's write out the answer. At her current speed, Aubrey can travel 576 miles in 9 hours. Congratulations! You've learned how to solve proportions by using cross products.